You've probably been told that manifesting your dream life is supposed to be hard, that it requires complicated rituals, hours of visualization, perfectly scripted affirmations, and a constant grind to raise your vibration. But what if I told you something radically different? That quantum manifestation is stunningly simple. So simple, in fact, that most people overlook it. Right now, you are already inside the quantum field, an infinite web of possibilities. And this field doesn't respond to how many hours you meditate or how perfectly you recite affirmations. It responds to the clarity of your signal. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people send a scrambled message. They visualize abundance while secretly stressing over their bank account. They repeat, "I am loved," while their nervous system is still braced for rejection. They try to force positivity while their body vibrates with fear. And in the quantum world, forcing equals friction. That's why so many manifestation attempts collapse. But here's the good news. The key isn't effort, it's alignment. And alignment can begin in less than 60 seconds. One deep breath, one moment of gratitude, one small act of coherence. Think back. When was the last time something amazing came to you effortlessly? The right person, the perfect idea, the chance opportunity? That's not luck. That's the quantum field responding to a clear, coherent signal. In this video, I'm going to show you the real secret almost nobody talks about. Why manifestation works best when you stop forcing, and how you can start applying it in simple, practical ways. Beginning today. Part 2. The pain of forcing reality. Think about how most people are taught to manifest. They're told that if they just visualize hard enough, or repeat affirmations long enough, eventually, the universe will bend to their will. So they close their eyes and picture the dream house, the new car, the soulmate. They repeat the words over and over. I am wealthy, I am loved, I am successful, and maybe for a moment, they feel a spark of hope. But then the meditation ends, and life rushes back in. The bills are still on the counter. The phone buzzes with another late payment reminder. Out of habit, they check their bank app, and their chest tightens when they see the balance. In that instant, the bright vision fades, and doubt takes its place. They ask themselves, what if this never works for me? This is the hidden pain of manifestation as most people practice it. On the surface, they're speaking abundance, but underneath, their body and nervous system are still broadcasting fear. It's like trying to tune in to smooth jazz while the dial is stuck on static. The words may sound hopeful, but the frequency is all wrong. And the quantum field, it isn't fooled. It doesn't hear the sentences you say. It feels the signal underneath. Imagine someone affirming, I am abundant, with a clenched jaw, shallow breath, and worry running through their veins. The affirmation isn't alignment, it's noise. The subconscious is still screaming lack, and the field mirrors lack back. And after a while, the person begins to wonder if they're broken. They think maybe manifestation works for others, but not for them. Maybe they're not spiritual enough. Maybe they don't deserve it. The truth is not that manifestation doesn't work. The truth is that it's working perfectly. The field is reflecting exactly what they're sending, even when they don't realize it. Picture another scene. You're scrolling TikTok late at night. A video promises that if you script, I attract $10,000 3 times under your pillow, money will show up by Friday. You grab your notebook, write it out, and for a few minutes, you feel excitement. But then the weekend comes, and nothing changes. rent is due. You open your banking app and fear grips your chest again. That fear is the real signal the field has been listening to all along. Or maybe you're manifesting love. You light a candle, visualize your partner, whisper affirmations before bed. But the next morning, you can't stop checking your phone, waiting for a text that never comes. Deep down, the signal you're broadcasting is not love, it's longing. The field doesn't punish you for this. It simply mirrors it, sending more longing, more waiting, more almost, but not quite. The same with health. You tell yourself, I am strong, I am healing. But then you wake up scanning your body for every tiny symptom, bracing for the worst. Your nervous system floods with stress hormones, and the field listens to that. The broadcast isn't resilience, it's fear. And this is where people get stuck in the most exhausting loop. They keep trying harder. More affirmations, more vision boards, more rituals. But beneath the surface, their body is still locked in survival mode. Their subconscious is still running old programs. I'll never have enough. Nothing ever works for me. I have to fight for everything. And the field, precise, neutral, and responsive, mirrors those programs back into lived reality. This is why so many give up. They hop from one method to another, searching for the secret hack, and when it doesn't work, they blame themselves. They think, maybe I don't deserve it. But the truth is simpler, and maybe harder to accept. The problem is not their worthiness. The problem is their coherence. You've felt this before. That frustration of trying everything, only to end up in the same place. The quiet shame of wondering, am I the only one this doesn't work for? But you're not alone. Almost everyone trying to manifest falls into this trap. They keep pushing with the conscious mind while ignoring the subconscious body. They try to overpower reality with words while their nervous system is still bracing for the opposite. And the pain isn't just emotional. It's physical. The jaw clenches, the chest tightens, sleep becomes restless. The body carries the weight of all that forcing. And the more you force, the more the field hears the frequency of effort instead of the vibration of arrival. This is why manifestation so often feels like a fight between the vision you want and the state you're actually living in. A fight between what you say out loud and what your body is whispering underneath. And the harder you fight, the more resistance you create. Forcing becomes friction. But here's the truth you need to hear. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are simply caught in the same loop as everyone else, trying to send a signal of abundance while your subconscious is still broadcasting lack. And until you see this clearly, the loop repeats. Effort, hope, crash, repeat. This is the inner pain of manifestation. It's not that you don't want it enough. It's not that you're unworthy. It's that you're sending mixed signals. The field isn't cruel. It's precise. And it's waiting, right now, for you to clear the static. Because the very moment you shift your signal, even a little, the mirror shifts with you. The pain of forcing doesn't last forever. The loop ends the instant you stop trying to overpower reality and start aligning with it. Part 3. The Quantum Truth. Reality is a mirror, not a battle. So if forcing doesn't work, then what does? This is the point where everything shifts, because we need to completely reframe how we see manifestation. Most people approach it like a fight, you against your current reality. If you push hard enough with affirmations, if you visualize with enough detail, maybe you can overpower what is and bend it into what you want. But that isn't how quantum manifestation works. It's not a fight. It's not about bulldozing circumstances or wrestling with the present moment until it surrenders. It's about tuning yourself to a version of reality that already exists and allowing the field to reflect it back to you. Think of the quantum field as a mirror, vast and cosmic. It doesn't judge. It doesn't punish. It doesn't reward. It simply reflects whatever signal you're sending with the strongest coherence. If your thoughts go one way, your emotions pull another, and your actions wander in yet another direction. The mirror shows the confusion. But when your system is aligned, when thought, emotion, and action hum in the same key, the reflection becomes crystal clear. Physicists call this the collapse of the wave. At the quantum level, everything exists as probability, as waves of potential. Abundance and scarcity, love and loneliness, health and sickness, all of them hover in possibility. The wave collapses into one lived reality when the observer interacts with it, and that observer is you. Here's the piece most people miss. The observer isn't only your conscious mind. It isn't just the words you say out loud or the pictures you hold in your imagination. The observer is also your subconscious. It's your body, your heart, your nervous system, every layer of you broadcasting constantly into the field. And the field listens to the whole signal, not just the surface message. This is why you can't think your way into abundance while your body is still locked in the vibration of scarcity. It's why you can't declare, "I am loved," while your chest feels tight and your heart is armored shut. The words are surface noise. The real broadcast comes from deeper. So the secret of manifestation is not about doing more, but about being clearer. Not about chasing harder, but about embodying more fully. The moment you step into the version of yourself who has already received what you desire, the field has no choice but to reflect it. It isn't magic. It's resonance. Let's put this plainly. Imagine you're tuning a radio. If you want jazz, you don't demand jazz from the heavy metal station. You turn the dial. Same radio, same room, but a different song. The quantum field works exactly the same way. You don't beg it for a new track. You align your frequency to the timeline you want to experience, and the music changes. This is where it becomes practical. Tuning your frequency doesn't mean pretending to be happy all the time. It doesn't mean forcing yourself to smile when you're sad or faking calm when you're anxious. That's just another kind of forcing. What it really means is learning to notice where you are right now and gently shifting into coherence. Sometimes it looks as simple as pausing for 3 slow breaths when your mind is spiraling. Sometimes it's placing a hand on your heart and remembering one thing you truly appreciate, even in a difficult moment. Sometimes it's choosing one small action your already successful self would take today. Maybe it's cleaning your space, making that call you've been avoiding, or treating yourself with a little more respect. These tiny shifts send a clearer signal than 1,000 affirmations spoken through clenched teeth. And yes, the idea that reality is a mirror can feel uncomfortable. Because if the field is simply reflecting what we send, then we can't blame luck or fate or anyone else for everything. It demands radical responsibility. If the reflection looks chaotic, it's because the signal is chaotic. If the reflection feels abundant, it's because the signal is steady. But here's the liberating part. A mirror never argues. The moment you change your stance, the reflection shifts instantly. The moment you smile, the mirror smiles back. The field responds just as fast. You don't have to wait years for karma to catch up. The shift begins the very moment your signal does. Science backs this up. Researchers like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Bruce Lipton have shown that the heart generates an electromagnetic field far stronger than the brain. When your heart and brain are in sync, your signal radiates outward with incredible clarity. You've felt this before, when you walk into a room and sense someone's energy before they say a word. That's coherence, and the field is reading it constantly. So here's the invitation. Stop chasing manifestation like it's something outside of you. Start seeing it as tuning in to what's already here. You're not creating abundance from nothing. You're collapsing into the version of abundance that already exists. You're not convincing the universe to love you. You're aligning with the version of yourself who already feels loved and letting that reality click into place. And if this still feels abstract, try it now. Take one breath. Notice your body. No judgment, just observe. Are you tense? Are you rushing? Are you calm? Whatever it is, that is the signal you're broadcasting. That is the frequency the field is reflecting. The power begins with noticing, because once you notice, you can choose. This is the truth almost nobody tells you. Manifestation is not about working harder, visualizing longer, or scripting better. It's about coherence. It's about alignment. It's about tuning the dial of your being until your broadcast is clear, steady, and strong. And when that happens, reality bends. Opportunities show up. Synchronicities line up. People respond to you in new ways. Not because you forced them to, but because the mirror simply reflected your new state. So pause with this question. What station are you tuned to right now? Are you broadcasting lack and fear, or gratitude and trust? The field doesn't lie. It doesn't filter. It only reflects. In the next part, we'll go deeper. We'll explore the daily practices that help you live in this coherence. Not just as an idea, but as a living reality you can feel and apply today. Because once you know reality is a mirror, the only question left is, how do you polish the glass? How do you shine your signal so clearly that the field has no choice but to meet you there? That's where we're headed next. Part 4. Simple daily practices. How to align in real life. Up until now, you've heard the theory. You've seen why forcing doesn't work, why the field mirrors coherence, why your subconscious is often the true observer. But let's be honest, theory isn't what changes your life. Practice does. And most manifestation teachings stop short. They tell you to think positive, to visualize harder, but they don't show you how to bring your body, your emotions, and your actions into harmony. That's why so many people stay stuck. They know the concept, but they don't feel it in their bones. They've memorized the idea, but their nervous system hasn't caught up. The shift only happens when you move from knowing to doing, from idea to embodiment. The good news is, alignment doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need hours of meditation, endless rituals, or a perfect spiritual routine. In fact, some of the most powerful shifts happen in moments. Less than a minute can change the entire signal you're sending. Think of it this way. Every time you catch yourself spiraling into doubt or fear, you have a chance to send out static or to send out clarity. One choice, one pause, one breath can tilt the entire mirror. So let me give you 3 simple practices. They're not dramatic. They won't make a flashy TikTok. But if you actually do them, they can change the broadcast you're sending to the field. The first is what I call the 60-second reset. It's exactly what it sounds like. When you feel yourself spinning, checking your bank balance, worrying about the future, replaying the past, Stop. Place your hand on your heart. Breathe slowly, 6 breaths in a minute. As you breathe, recall one thing you're genuinely grateful for. It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's your morning coffee. Maybe it's the roof over your head. Maybe it's the simple fact that you're alive right now, breathing. In less than 60 seconds, your body begins to settle. Your heart rate shifts, your nervous system steadies, and the field receives a clear, coherent signal instead of noise. The second practice is a question, the already me question. Most people manifest by chasing. They send the frequency of lack. I don't have it yet, I need it, I want it. But the field reflects the wanting, not the having. The way out is to step into the identity of the version of you who already has it. And the question is simple. What would that version of me do right now? Imagine you're manifesting abundance. The old you would panic check the bank app 10 times a day. The already abundant you would handle money calmly, maybe even generously. So you make a choice in line with that version, paying a bill without fear, tipping with gratitude, or investing in something that grows your value. If you're manifesting love, the already me wouldn't stalk their phone for texts. They'd open their heart, connect with people naturally, and treat themselves with respect. So today, you choose one act that matches that version. Each time you ask this question and take action from it, you stop chasing and start being. The third practice happens at night. Most people fall asleep in stress. They replay everything that went wrong, scroll their phones until they collapse, or lie in bed rehearsing worst-case scenarios. But the last moments before sleep are some of the most powerful. That's when your subconscious is most open. So here's the shift. Before you close your eyes, recall one moment from your day when you felt safe, grateful, or at peace. Replay it slowly. Let yourself feel it in your body. Breathe it in. Drift to sleep in that state. Neuroscience shows that your brain consolidates emotional experiences during sleep. By choosing coherence before you drift off, you plant that frequency into your subconscious all night long. These 3 practices sound simple, and that's exactly why most people ignore them. They think the answer must be more complicated, more dramatic, more secret. But the field doesn't measure complexity, it measures clarity. Every 60-second reset tells the field, I'm safe, I'm present. Every already me choice says, I'm aligned with this timeline. Every bedtime memory seeds your subconscious with coherence. That is what the mirror reflects. And here's what happens when you live them, not just hear them. Synchronicities start showing up. A stranger offers help. An idea sparks out of nowhere. Opportunities line up without you chasing. You feel lighter in your own skin. It's not that the universe suddenly decides to bless you. It's that your signal finally cleared. The mirror simply had no choice but to shift. Now let's be clear. This isn't about being perfect. You'll still wobble. You'll still forget. You'll still have days when fear sneaks back in. That's human. The difference is, now you have tools. You can catch yourself. You can reset in a minute. You can re-enter the identity of the already me. You can go to bed aligned instead of anxious. And over time, those small pivots add up. They rewire your nervous system. They retrain your subconscious. They create a steady signal the field can trust. So pause and ask yourself, which of these 3 will you practice tonight? Will you give yourself 60 seconds of coherence? Will you step into your already me identity? Will you seed your subconscious with gratitude before sleep? Pick one. Do it. Notice the shift. Because in the end, manifestation isn't about waiting for the field to move first. It's about broadcasting clearly enough that the field has no choice but to mirror you. And in the next part, we'll expose the hidden traps that even experienced manifestors fall into, the little habits that keep your signal scrambled without you even realizing it. Because once you stop sending mixed signals, the mirror reflects faster than you ever imagined. Part 5. The Hidden Traps. Why forcing kills your signal. By now you know that coherence is the real currency. The field doesn't care how pretty your vision board looks, or how many times you whispered an affirmation in the mirror. It only cares about the signal underneath. And this is where almost everyone stumbles. Not because they're lazy or unworthy, but because they get caught in invisible traps that scramble their frequency. The biggest one is the control trap. It's that urge to grip the wheel so tightly that you believe if you just monitor enough, check enough, stress enough, you'll finally get the outcome you crave. But here's the paradox. The tighter you grip, the louder your broadcast of mistrust becomes. And the field, precise as always, reflects exactly that. Picture this. You just finished a meditation on abundance. For a moment, you feel it. Safety, calm, trust. Then almost automatically, your hand reaches for your phone. You open your banking app. The numbers glare back, and your chest tightens. That one look collapses your coherence. The signal you were sending a minute ago, I am abundant, flips into I don't believe until I see proof. And the field listens. It doesn't punish you. It doesn't laugh at you. It just mirrors the mistrust. So you manifest more waiting, more checking, more spirals of anxiety. Or maybe you're manifesting love. You spend the night visualizing your perfect partner, whispering, I am worthy of deep connection. But the moment the candle goes out, you find yourself staring at your phone, refreshing the screen, wondering why they haven't texted back. That silent obsession sends a louder message than the words you spoke. The signal is not, I am loved. The signal is, I need proof I am lovable. And the mirror responds by showing you more longing, more almost but not quite connections. It happens with health, too. You affirm, my body is strong, I am healing. You picture yourself vibrant, but then you wake up the next morning and scan every inch of your body for symptoms. The field doesn't hear resilience. It hears vigilance, fear, and expectation of sickness. Once again, the coherence collapses. And then there's the modern trap, scrolling. TikTok after TikTok. Reels about manifestation hacks, angel number meanings, rituals that promise instant results. You binge them like candy, but practice almost nothing deeply. That endless consumption sends its own broadcast. I'm still searching. I don't believe I have it yet. And the field obliges, keeping you in the endless loop of searching. Even signs can trip you up. Numbers on clocks, license plates, receipts. They can be powerful synchronicities when received lightly. But when you start chasing them, needing constant proof from the universe, you unknowingly send another message. I don't trust unless you keep reassuring me. The mirror reflects mistrust, not the number itself. Here's the thing. None of these behaviors mean you're failing. They mean you're human. They're survival instincts. We all want reassurance. We all want to feel in control. But the field doesn't speak the language of desperation. It speaks the language of clarity. And clarity disappears the moment you clutch too hard. Think about the times when something wonderful arrived without effort. The perfect opportunity, the unexpected connection, the breakthrough idea. Notice the common thread. You weren't gripping. You weren't demanding. You weren't refreshing your apps, chasing signs, or forcing the field. You were open, relaxed, available. and the mirror reflected that availability. That's the paradox at the heart of manifestation. The moment you stop needing it so badly, the field finally delivers. Not because it's testing you, but because your own gripping was the interference all along. So how do you step out of these traps? Not by abandoning action, but by shifting the energy behind it. When the urge to check your bank account rises, pause and breathe. Remember one way you are already supported. When the silence after a date feels unbearable, instead of spiraling, put that energy into becoming the partner you want to attract. Treat yourself with kindness. Open up with a friend. Live connection now. When fear of sickness creeps in, thank your body for something it did right today, no matter how small. When you're tempted to scroll for hacks, close the app and practice one thing with depth. And when you see 11:11 on the clock, smile, but let it be a reminder of your own coherence, not a condition for your trust. These tiny pivots are not superficial. They change the signal. They turn static into music. They move you from noise to coherence, from mistrust to trust. The field doesn't need you to be flawless. It only needs the signal to be steady enough to read. So ask yourself honestly, where in your life are you gripping the wheel with white knuckles? Where are you checking, chasing, scanning, refreshing? And what would it look like to loosen your grip, even by 10%? That tiny shift could be the difference between the mirror reflecting your fear and the mirror reflecting your trust. This is the hidden pain of the control trap, but it's also its hidden gift. Because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Awareness itself loosens the grip. The moment you notice, you already begin to shift, and the mirror is quick to respond. In the next part, we'll explore something even more encouraging. The subtle signs that tell you your signal is becoming coherent, even before the outer evidence shows up. Because the mirror always reflects back. The question is, are you paying attention to what it's showing you? Part 6. Signs of progress. How to know your signal is working. So here's the question almost everyone asks once they hear about coherence. How do I know if it's working? If reality is a mirror, how do I tell whether I'm finally sending the right signal? This is where so many people get discouraged, because they're looking for the wrong signs. They want instant results. The money in the bank overnight, the text from their soulmate, the big break dropping from the sky. And when those don't appear on schedule, they assume nothing has changed. But the truth is, the field always reflects back the moment your signal shifts. The first reflections are often subtle. They show up inside you before they show up outside you. And if you don't recognize them, you'll miss the proof that it's already working. Think about it like this. When you start tuning an instrument, you don't hear a full song right away. You hear one string shift into harmony, then another, then another. At first the changes are small, but together they create a new sound. Your life works the same way. The signs of coherence start as whispers, and if you honor them, they grow into symphonies. One of the earliest signs is the quality of your nervous system. Maybe for the first time in years, you fall asleep without replaying worries. You wake up feeling a little lighter, not weighed down before the day even begins. You notice that the constant knot in your stomach isn't as tight. This isn't coincidence. This is your body broadcasting a different frequency. The field mirrors calm because calm is now in your signal. Another sign is how you respond to stress. The bill still arrives, the email still delays, but instead of spiraling, you pause. You take a breath. You reset. And then you make a choice without the panic. That moment of new response is proof that your coherence is strengthening. The outer problem didn't vanish instantly, but the inner broadcast shifted, and the field will follow. Synchronicities also begin to multiply. You think of someone and they call. You're wrestling with a decision, and a stranger's conversation at the coffee shop gives you the clarity you needed. You take a different route home and stumble on the exact opportunity you've been looking for. These aren't random accidents. They are echoes of a signal becoming clearer. The mirror is aligning events around your state. Pay attention, too, to the way people respond to you. When your signal steadies, others feel it even if they can't explain why. The same friend who used to unload negativity suddenly softens in your presence. The colleague who overlooked you starts listening differently. People begin to comment, "You feel different lately." That's not just perception, it's resonance. They're reacting to the coherence you're radiating. Here's another overlooked sign. Your relationship with waiting changes. In the past, waiting felt unbearable. Every day without proof gnawed at your faith. But as your signal steadies, you find you can breathe even in the in-between. You stop obsessing over when. You start feeling okay in the now. That's not passivity, that's alignment. Because the moment you stop needing the proof so desperately, the proof can finally arrive. Let's get practical. Imagine someone manifesting financial freedom. For weeks, nothing in their bank account has shifted, but they notice they're not checking their balance 10 times a day anymore. They're making choices with a little more calm, paying bills without dread, maybe even giving a little extra tip just because it feels good. That's progress. That's coherence. The field is already reading it, and the outer shifts are on their way. Or imagine someone manifesting love. The soulmate hasn't shown up yet, but they realize they're not scanning their phone for messages every night. They're actually enjoying their own company. They're opening their heart with friends, being more vulnerable, more real. That's not absence of results. That's the first reflection of a new timeline. The signs are there if you know where to look. They're not always glamorous. They're not always Instagram-worthy, but they are powerful. Because once you feel them, you know the process is alive. You know you're no longer spinning your wheels. You know the field is listening. And here's what's beautiful. The more you acknowledge these subtle signs, the faster the bigger ones arrive. Gratitude amplifies coherence. Every time you notice, "Hey, I slept well tonight," or "I handled that stress better than last week," you're telling the field, "This is the frequency I choose." The mirror sharpens. The reflection strengthens. So the real question isn't, "Is it working?" The real question is, "Am I noticing the feedback?" Because the mirror is always giving it to you. The calm breath you didn't have before, the lighter mood, the unexpected coincidence, the shift in how others treat you. These are all the universe whispering back, "Yes, keep going." And this is where many people miss out. They dismiss the whispers and demand the fireworks. They overlook the first cracks of dawn because they're waiting for the sun to be high in the sky. But dawn is still proof that the day is coming. Coherence begins inside, and the outer evidence builds on that. So right now, take inventory. What small shifts have you already noticed? Are you sleeping better? Do you feel a little calmer in situations that used to rattle you? Have synchronicities been showing up, even if they're small? These are not random. These are the early signs that your broadcast is changing. Hold them close. Celebrate them. They are the first proof that your signal is no longer static. They are the feedback loop that shows you the field is listening. And here's the promise. If you keep choosing coherence, the whispers grow louder. The mirror reflects bigger. The outer results become impossible to ignore, but it all begins by honoring the early signs, by trusting that the shift is real even before the evidence is overwhelming. So sit with this. What signals of progress have you already been overlooking? What subtle reflections has the mirror been showing you that you dismissed as nothing? Look again. Feel again. Because once you recognize them, you'll realize you're already further along than you thought. And in the next part, we'll go even deeper. We'll take these early signs and show you how to amplify them, how to build momentum so that coherence becomes your natural state, not a fleeting moment. Because when coherence becomes who you are, the field has no choice but to deliver a life that matches. Part 7. Collective practice. The power of community. So far, we've been talking about your individual signal, your coherence, your nervous system, your subconscious. But here's the truth no one can escape. You don't broadcast into the field alone. Human beings are social transmitters. We sync. We co-regulate. We pick up signals from each other without a word spoken. And that means your environment is not neutral. The people you spend time with, the spaces you step into, even the voices you listen to online, all of them shape the signal you send. You've felt this before. You walk into a room where tension is thick, and without anyone saying anything, your chest tightens, your voice lowers, you feel on edge. That's co-regulation in action. Your body is tuning to the frequency of the space. And the opposite is also true. Sit next to someone calm, grounded, genuinely joyful, and you feel your own system soften. You breathe easier. You feel safer. That's not imagination. It's physics. Our fields are interacting. This is why community is such a hidden key in manifestation. Alone, you can practice coherence, and it matters. But together, coherence multiplies. The field doesn't just hear one signal, it hears a chorus. And that chorus can shift timelines faster than a solo voice ever could. Think about how music works. One instrument can play a melody, but when the whole orchestra tunes together, the resonance fills the entire hall. Community coherence works the same way. When you're surrounded by people practicing alignment, your system falls into rhythm with theirs. Your signal strengthens without extra effort. This is also why environment matters so deeply. If you spend your days around people locked in fear, scarcity, and complaint, no matter how many affirmations you say at night, your system will keep tuning back to lack. The mirror reflects the dominant signal, but if you intentionally place yourself in spaces where gratitude, trust, and possibility are the baseline, your coherence stabilizes almost automatically. And it doesn't take a monastery or a retreat to feel this. Imagine even a simple online challenge. A group of people committing to 1 minute of alignment every day for a week. You sit down at night, hand on heart, breathing slowly, knowing hundreds of others are doing the exact same thing across the country. That awareness shifts you. You're not alone in your signal. You're part of a collective broadcast, and the field feels it. This is why I want you to experiment, not just to listen, but to join. For the next 7 days, give yourself 60 seconds each day to reset. Put your hand on your heart, breathe, recall one moment of gratitude, and when you finish, share one word that captures your state. Trust, ease, joy, in the comments below. That word becomes part of the collective signal. It's not about performance, it's about resonance. Each word strengthens the chorus. Because here's the thing, Manifestation isn't a solo sport. The field is alive, responsive, relational. When you surround yourself with coherence, you amplify your own. When you contribute to collective coherence, you magnify it for everyone else. And in that loop, the mirror reflects bigger, faster, clearer. Science even points here. Research on meditation groups shows that when a community practices coherence together, measurable shifts occur in the environment around them. Lower crime rates, calmer social tension, even better outcomes in schools. The field listens when signals synchronize. So ask yourself honestly, what's your current environment teaching your nervous system? Who are you syncing with most of the time? Are you entangling with fear and doubt, or with trust and clarity? This isn't about judgment. It's about choice. Because you can curate your environment. You can choose who you listen to, who you spend time with, what voices you allow into your mind. And those choices shape your broadcast. Imagine for a moment a life where you deliberately build a coherence circle. A friend who practices gratitude with you each morning. A partner who reminds you to breathe when stress rises. A community online where people share their daily wins, no matter how small, and celebrate progress together. Your signal would no longer wobble alone. It would be held steady by the group. That's the power of collective practice. And don't underestimate how much you can influence others just by being coherent yourself. You've already experienced this. The day you walked into a room calm, and suddenly the energy shifted for everyone else. The time you spoke with steady kindness, and an argument de-escalated. That was your signal syncing others into coherence. You don't just receive, you transmit. So here's my invitation. Stop trying to walk this path in isolation. Step into community, share your practice, join the experiment. For 7 days, let's see what happens when we breathe together, when we name our states, when we amplify coherence as a group. Because when you add your voice to the chorus, the mirror doesn't just reflect you, it reflects us. And in the next part, we'll take this even deeper. We'll close the loop on everything we've learned, from the pain of forcing, to the truth of coherence, to the daily practices, to the traps and the signs of progress. And we'll tie it all together with one final principle. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Because when your being becomes coherent, the field can only respond with the life that matches it. Part 8. The final invitation. Here's the truth that matters as we close. You don't need another ritual. You don't need another book or another endless search for secrets. What you need is to choose your signal and live it. Right here, right now. Because the field is already listening. Every breath, every thought, every subtle choice. It's all part of your broadcast. The mirror is already reflecting. The question is not whether it works. The question is whether you are ready to trust what you're sending. So I'll ask you this one last thing. What frequency do you want to carry forward after this moment? Pick a single word, just one. Trust. Ease, joy, power, alignment, whatever rises first. Say it to yourself. Feel it in your chest, and then share it. Leave it below so that your word becomes part of the collective signal we're sending out together. And if something inside you lit up while listening, if you felt the mirror shift even slightly, don't let that fade. Stay in this space. Join this community. Subscribe so that you're not walking this path alone. Because the more voices join, the stronger the signal becomes. The field is waiting. The mirror is ready. All that's left is you choosing your word, choosing your signal, choosing your state. So breathe it in. Speak it out. Let it begin.